Oh, you are in for a treat. The last time he was on created quite a stir. And today we're going to talk about, last time we talked about diabetes. Now we're going to talk about pain. So many different kinds of pain. Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum is going to razzle dazzle you. So fasten your seatbelt. We're going to learn and grow together. And I get to see that we're about to start. I probably have chocolate all over my teeth. But the good stuff, the one with the banana base. Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are fans of the show and keep coming back, I am so glad you're here. And for those of you who just stumbled upon the Lillian McDermott radio show, then let me tell you, I've been waiting for you. This is what the show is about. And what my purpose is to create a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, I was saying off the air that you're in for a treat. The last time Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum was on the show, it just thinks outside the box. It's not just about the body. It's about other things that affect us and what, disease is optional. I'm taking that from him. This is a quote from Dr. Teitelbaum. So Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum is board certified internist, and he is nationally known or internationally renowned, and he is an expert in chronic fatigue syndrome, the fibromyalgia, sleep, pain, Alzheimer's. And as a result of his own health crisis, he was able to become an even better doctor. And so today we are talking about his protocol, his S.H.I.N.E protocol, that has to do with sleep, hormones, infections, nutrition, exercise. And Dr. Teitelbaum is going to share how we can get pain-free and take our health back. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am honored to introduce you to Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. Thank you, Dr. Teitelbaum, for being on the Lillian McDermott radio show.
Lillian, a pleasure. And as always, you do a great job because you bring your life experience to this. And I had the pleasure of having fibromyalgia. So It gave me a really good understanding of, one, what pain feels like, but also what tight muscles, trigger points. I was able to learn on my own body what was going on. So most doctors have never learned to do a muscle exam. And muscle pain, for those of you with pain, over half of people who have pain, even if they think it's from arthritis and other things, a big part of the pain is muscle pain. And I will bet you, just playing the odds, your doctor has not the slightest clue how to do a muscle exam to tell if muscle pain is there. They'll do an x-ray because they can see that. The studies show that the x-rays usually have very little to do with the pain, even if there's severe arthritis. But they don't know how to simply examine a muscle, find the tight belly, release the muscle. They have no idea. It's like an eye doctor going to an eye doctor because you can't see, and the guy doesn't know there's anything above your waist. It's just, what? You can't treat pain that way. But that's how most doctors are doing it. So when the doctor says, I'm sorry, I can't help you, tell them thank you for being honest and go find somebody who can. And we're going to teach you today how to get pain-free and what pain is telling you.
That's amazing. There's not a lot of people out there that will come out and say, doctors don't really know how to do a muscle pain test. How do you do a muscle pain test?
Yeah, they don't even know there's a muscle pain test. But you ask any chiropractor or massage therapist, it's, of course, people say, how did you know it hurt there and felt better? Because I can feel it, it's like, it's duh. And when you feel, it's not all a big bag of water in here. There's different components. I mean, we know how to feel for the bone. That's nice as doctors. But there's the different tissues and ligaments you can find. You'll feel near the joints, there are these little ropey things. Those are the tendons. That's where the muscle attaches to the bone. So when your muscle contracts, your bone moves up and down. And you can feel that ropey thing. If it's tender, that's a tendonitis. So you know
Okay.
to treat that, and that's not hard to treat. You just
Mhm.
use a good topical prescription-based thing, or even comfrey. If you go further up, you'll feel a thicker area,
Okay.
and you'll feel, if you want a nice place to begin, you can actually stick your finger in your mouth, your thumb, and you can use your other finger, go all the way towards your ear,
Uh-huh.
feel the thin cheek between your fingers. But as you go towards your ear, it thickens.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's the masseter, and those muscles there are really good. Now, if you feel along, you'll find little tender spots in some of those muscles.
Uh-huh.
Those are the tender points, and often, if they feel like a marble, the trigger points. That's
So
what they feel like.
so you're saying to feel the inside of your mouth as to feel the body? And if and those
To
are the
get an idea of what the muscles feel like, and then you can feel for it elsewhere in the body. But another thing is just go to a good massage therapist, ask your health food store, ask the owner, because they're the ones who have more experience in that area, who has magic fingers for massage. So
ah.
instead of doing it yourself, because there's massage and then there's magic. I mean, there's somebody who's going to get off the table and go, how did you do that? Um, and they know how to do those exams.
Very good. So you heard the man. We're going to learn how to get pain-free. And because, according to Dr. Teitelbaum, disease is optional. So we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Teitelbaum when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Dr. Teitelbaum, so the inside of my mouth, that's supposed to feel like my muscles?
No, the cheek is very thin.
Uh-huh.
But when you get about an inch or two in front of your ear,
Uh-huh.
that's when that thick stuff, that's the
Uh-huh.
masseter muscle. That's what chews.
Uh-huh.
And so that's a nice one that you can isolate and get a feel for what the muscle feels like. And then you
Uh-huh.
can feel if there's tight bands in there, and
Uh-huh.
you can feel if there's a tender marble called a trigger point. Now, once you've learned to do that, then you can feel from just the one side and find the different muscles. But when you have a pain, you can feel along. It's a little much for today's show to try to teach people. It's kind of like how to play violin in an hour plus. We're going to teach everything else. So, but just knowing that it can be done and it's really helpful to be done, but you need to have somebody who knows. But basically, I don't fault the doctor for not knowing how to treat pain any more than I fault a chiropractor for not knowing how to do heart bypass surgery.
Yeah.
But I don't go to the chiropractor for heart bypass, and it's insane to go to most doctors for pain. They have no training in it. So what we're going to do is give the people the information they need today so they can start with a lot of it on their own, and then who to go see.
Oh, I am excited to dive into this show as well as a little scared.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't think I've ever put my thumb in my mouth during a show. And not
Uh-huh.
only did one side, I did the other side too.
Well, at least anyway, I won't even go there. So,
So I'm gonna have to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna wash my fingers here.
and now
But
we're
no,
going to
this
check
is
inside your
interesting because
ears.
I've never stuck my thumb in my mouth to feel the muscle, and I've got really tight
Yep,
muscles in my mouth. And
yep.
yes, there was that thin, and so that's what we're feeling here. And you're going to teach us how to
I'm not going
work
to
that
teach
out.
that today because that would take too long for the day. But have you ever talked about TMJ or TMD?
I've never done a show on TMJ.
Okay, well, that's how you tell, not the way the doctors are doing.
Yeah, if you have TMJ, what do you have? Do you have like
Those
little
muscles will
knots?
be tender and not you,
Oh,
and then
I'll
they'll try
be
to.
I'll be
They'll
giving
try
myself a self-exam pretty soon.
to.
Okay, so I see where we're ready to start. Okay. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. We're in for a treat because for those of you who are experiencing pain, I've said on the show before that, I've had doctors come on and say 100% of all disease has a root cause of an emotional component. They've said that on my show. Whether I agree with it or not, that's been, maybe we can say 95%. But here's the thing. Pain has become a money-making deal. And there's I was doing some research that the economic toll of the opioid crisis is estimated to have topped $1 trillion. $1 trillion. And the way that these opioids are designed, they're designed to keep you hooked. So the moment you try to get off of it, then you feel the pain. Dr. Teitelbaum, what can you say about the cycle of pain when it comes to starting these drugs?
Well, first of all, let me note that about 15 years ago, the government declared a war on pain because 1 out of 4 Americans were in pain, and they declared a war on pain but gave doctors virtually no information on how to effectively treat the pain.
Mm,
So they started writing prescriptions for narcotics like candy. Uh, Now we're up to having 15,000 people a year dying from prescribed narcotic overdoses in the United States.
mhm,
So that war didn't work out very well.
no,
So now instead they're doing a war on people in pain, including the people who need narcotics for their pain. And now they're making them feel like junkies and drug addicts, which they're not any more than somebody taking insulin as a junkie or drug addict for diabetes, if a kid's taking that.
yeah,
So it's important to realize that the narcotics are not the enemy. To put it in perspective, we talk about 15,000 deaths from narcotic overdoses that are prescribed. There are over 50,000 deaths a year from ibuprofen and arthritis medications each year. Do you hear about that in the news
no,
industry? Not with them being the second biggest advertiser. There is a study of over 500,000 people years showing, again, 50,000 deaths when you actually take 5 minutes to run the numbers. And you know how much coverage it had in USA Today?
zero.
Zip.
Yeah,
Well, they had 3 pages on the horrors of herbals, you know.
yeah.
So you follow the money trail there. So
Sure.
the bottom line is for those of you who need narcotics for your pain, you're not a junkie, and it's not any worse than if you were on insulin or any of a number of other medications. My goal today is not to get you off the narcotics. My goal is to get you pain free. And once you're pain free, you're going to realize, I don't want the constipation and stuff from these things. You'll get off them
I
yourself
like
if you
that.
feel like it.
I like how you
Um,
think.
so, so don't let this whole trip, be going on with you. The goal is to get pain free. The pain is much more toxic than the narcotics, but you won't need them usually. So,
But
how do
but
you go?
can I ask a question, Dr. Tottelbaum? So the way that these narcotics are designed is that when you start getting off the medication, it has like this backlash. It has this way to give you
It,
pain so
uh,
that you need it again.
Narcotics are potentially addictive, and they can cause craving and withdrawal. They don't seem to do that so much in people who are using it for pain management. There's a subset of the population that gets a high from it and has an addictive personality. And those are the ones that tend to have that issue. But it's like saying that somebody's addicted to high blood pressure medicine. When you stop those, the blood pressure goes back up. Well, the pain just comes back, and then they want pain relief.
Hmm.
So you're going to see in people with the addictive issues, they're going to keep escalating doses, things like that. My dog ate the prescription again. It's just all these different things. It's a very different pattern.
Hmm.
Um, but Lillian, here's the thing: it's not about narcotics good or narcotics bad.
Okay.
Of course, you'd like to avoid any of these medications. Your Prozac, very addictive. I mean, but on Prozac, almost no benefit. You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's not about that. It's about getting pain free. And to get pain free, people need to realize that pain is not an outside invader. It's not like an infection. Pain is a healthy, natural part of your body's monitoring system telling you something needs attention.
Hmm.
It's just like the oil light on your car's dashboard. Can you imagine your oil light was going off on your car's dashboard, flashing at you? It's getting annoying. So you go to the car doctor. The car doctor has the stethoscope and says, "Oh, put a Band-Aid over it." Okay, how does that work out? Then they come back the next day. My motor burnt out. Oh, hell of a day you've had, Joe. Sorry, it's been such bad luck. They don't even associate the one with the other.
Hmm.
Um, and then they say, well, if it's still flashing, it's like, well, let me cut that out with a scalpel or smash the hand, and that's the medical approach to it. It's like, how about just put oil in the car?
Yeah.
Never crosses the doctor's mind. The pain is your body's way of saying something needs attention.
Hmm.
So if you know what to give your body, the pain goes away. So we're going to translate to you. It will be like your car's owner's manual today,
Okay.
saying what each kind of flashing warning light, each kind of pain is
Nice.
telling you that your body wants.
Okay. So let's get
So,
started.
so let's,
I'm just like waiting for you to continue.
okay, well, let's do this.
Let's
So
do it.
the most common kind of pain in this country is myofascial or muscle pain. It's where the muscles get tightened. The fascia, which are the bags of tissue that hold the muscles in place, also can shorten and get stuck in a shortened position. Um, so why do muscles get locked in a shortened position? Well, for muscle pain, that's telling you there's an energy crisis in the muscle. And we're
Okay.
seeing energy crisis is playing roles in so many areas in the human body, but that's how it reflects in the muscle. And when your muscles don't have enough energy, they're like a spring. They get locked in a shortened position. It takes more energy to stretch the spring than for it to contract. And you think, but that's counterintuitive. It should take more energy to contract the muscles. Well, think about when you've had a heavy workout. You don't come home and say, honey, my muscles are all loose and limp. They're all tight.
Well, maybe when I
That's
come back from my workout, it does.
okay, except for you. But it's but when you'll find you get tight muscles if we overdo it
Yeah.
because the energy goes out of the muscle, it gets used up, it shortens, and that's okay once in a while. The energy builds up, it releases. But when it gets too severe of an energy crisis in the muscle, it gets locked in a shortened position. So the question is, what causes these things? And it's helpful to look at things in general in healing in four categories if you want to start using the whole toolkit.
Okay.
Biochemistry, things like medications, nutritional herbals. Biophysics, so things like chakra, energy work, acupuncture, frequency specific microcurrent.
Mm-hmm.
The latter is very helpful for chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
Structural, so am I sitting at my computer without my elbows being supported, so that I'm holding my hands like this
Mm-hmm.
for 45 minutes? Try that, see how your shoulders feel with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is one hip higher than the other? So structural things, and these are things that chiropractors can be brilliant at helping put things back into balance, doing ergonomics, um, and then mind-body issues. Because there's a reason some people are called pain in the, so I say back and sometimes lower. Um, and emotional issues, when suppressed, can get buried in your muscles and trigger pain.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to treat the whole process. And we're going to focus today on the biochemistry,
Okay.
which is how to use the best of herbals, nutrients, and even medications. You'll notice I'm not against medications. I'm just against the insane way that they're used in this country. We think it's based on science. What a bunch of bull hockey. It's not based on science. It's based on profit. And it's most of the education we get as physicians has been labeled as by one of the main editors of the major medical journal of the United States as slick advertising masquerading as science. Now, of course, he didn't say that while he was still the editor, or he would have been fired. He waited
Yeah.
till he retired, and he said that. So, understanding how to use these things, you don't have to throw away the hammer because it's been going around smacking everybody. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know how to use it properly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Very
helpful
good.
tool. So, let's go with naturally. How can you get pain free?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So, the quickest thing, if I had to pick one thing on a desert island to take with me for pain, just to have in my toolkit. It would be an herbal mix called Curamin. Now, I'm not saying curcumin. You'd have to have 500 pills a day to get the effective dose. It's
Mm-hmm.
Curamin. It's a mix of four herbs. And it's been a pain relief miracle for a lot of people. Even people that the morphine didn't help are
Wow.
often seeing benefit from that. So going with the Curamin, I would go with the extra strength, give it 1-3 times a day, give it 6 weeks. It can be taken with any of the pain medications that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
Or arthritis medications. Hemp oil is next on the list. We're seeing this resurgence of this whole area of medical marijuana. But the nice thing is you don't have to get stoned out of your gourd to get pain free. You
Mm-hmm.
can go ahead and use the component of the hemp plant that doesn't cause the high. So you can be lucid and clear and have your anxiety go down and your pain go down and your sleep improve. There's a lot of issues with quality management and just mislabeling out there. The one that I use is called Hemp Oil by a company called Terry Naturally.
Mm-hmm.
They have one with curcumin, without. Get the one without curcumin. It'll cost you, you're going to get twice as much of the hemp oil active agents that way, and it's more bang for the buck.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take 1 to 3 times a day for pain. You can take up to 5 or even more if you want at night for sleep. The cost is the only limiting factor. So start with the Curamin, start with the hemp oil, and then there's a third herbal called N-Pain, which is another herbal mix. All of these are synergistic.
Mm-hmm.
All of these can be taken with any pain medications.
Very good. And pain, where do you get end pain?
You can find it at most health food stores, Amazon. You can find it on my endfatigue.com website.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are all readily available. The stuff I talk about is available everywhere.
Everywhere. So you just
I,
happen to have it just so it's convenient.
I
And
pick things that I like and I put them on my website. But I have I I don't do stuff that you can't find everywhere just because it feels icky.
well, yeah, it's true. It's true. The convenience factor. So you're talking about Curamin hemp oil. Now, the hemp oil that you're talking about, is it cold pressed? Is it organic? And so it's just you
This
mentioned
one,
very naturally, but I don't
this
know.
this one is organic and it's sourced, and it's going to be extracted in a way that's not going to be a heavy heat extraction. They're very good at being very conscious about the need for not damaging the oils.
Very good, very good. So this would be the natural component of treating the body of pain. And the hemp oil, do you drink it, take it orally, or do you put it on the pain?
You can do both, and the ones that I recommend, come in little jelly bean type tablets, so
Hmm.
you can take them. But you can pop it with the tip of a knife or a needle, and if it a localized area pain, just pop it, squeeze the oil, and rub it over the pain.
Very good, very good. So what would be the next level? So we start with
Okay.
natural. Let's say the symptoms do not go away. What's next?
Well, this is an overview for most any kinds of pain. So for those three.
Hmm.
So those are just tools to start with so you can start today. So next, let's go after the root cause of the pain in terms of, so the oil light is on, the root cause is you need oil in your car.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you're having muscle pain, that's a root cause is inadequate energy in the muscle. If it's just one localized area, you want to start with looking at ergonomics and especially how you're sitting when you're sitting. Find where you're sitting a lot. Do you have your favorite easy chair? Are you sitting by your computer? By the computer, make sure that you have wrist supports so that the edge of your wrist isn't getting cut into by the edge of the computer or the keyboard. And make sure that your elbows are supported. And you want to go ahead and adjust the armrest um, so that it's the right height so it's comfortable. So your elbows are supported, your wrists are supported, and your feet are flat on the floor.
Okay.
If you're sitting on a stool with these little bar things that you're resting your feet on, so you're putting 170 pounds of.
And let's hold that thought. We're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Sorry about that, Dr. Teitelbaum.
Did I miss my
I
cues?
yeah,
Oh, sorry about
I
that.
first I muted you. I needed to mute myself. So for those of you who are watching YouTube, this is the back scene of what we're doing on the show. And so I went to clear my throat. I muted you, and it kind of distracted me, and I didn't see the clock going. So I apologize for that.
Oh,
So
no.
it's interesting that you were saying that the body has inadequate energy.
Hmm.
I wanted to dive deeper on this inadequate energy because you've mentioned it several times. And since we're off the air, we can go a little bit deeper in this segment. So, inadequate energy is caused by.
Number one, we've lost 50% of the vitamins, minerals, and other micronutrients from our diet and food processing. What's left is calories. So we have people being obese and malnourished in the same person for the first time in human history.
Mhm.
Number two, the average night's sleep until 140 years ago when light bulbs were invented was 9 hours a night. We're now down to 6 and 3/4. That's a 30% pay cut.
When I'm lucky.
The speed of modern life is increasing dramatically, and the stress of modern life is increasing. And we have a so-called news media that likes to just make crap up. They just go ahead and what can we scare people with and how can we put people at each other's throats? Truth is irrelevant to them, and they just make stuff up. I mean, they may be reporting, you'll have CNN and MSNBC, which will report accurately, but they'll only show one side. So enough that it's an utter fiction
Hmm.
because they leave out the critical thing, you know, Joe was a murderer. Yes, he killed billions. No, they don't show him with the can of Lysol and he sprayed down the countertop. They just leave that out. That's what they're talking about. So yes, what they're saying is accurate, but it's really totally bogus because they leave out the context. Where
Mhm.
Fox is just happy to make stuff up, but they're much more entertaining. So it's all nonsense, no matter which side of the story you're looking at, and it's not healthy. It really causes an energy drain. I recommend people just turn it off. There's
You
something
know,
some you'll hear about it.
I am such an abuser. And if anything is going to be compromised is my sleep. I'm the
Mhm.
type of person that has to get everything done on my list.
Mhm.
And so I will sacrifice, if I'm almost done, I will sacrifice my sleep. And I know that's taking its toll on my body. I can tell.
Lillian, do you believe in that we have life after life after life, reincarnation? Good. Do you bel
I believe that we don't know what happens, so I am
okay.
open to just about anything.
So it's a possibility.
It's a
And
possibility.
do you believe that anywhere in those hundreds of thousands of life you're ever going to get it all done?
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're sacrificing the quality of eternity by every moment worrying about getting it all done when you're never going to get it all done. And a simple mind shift in terms of where I am in the moment is fine. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, then I'm going to stay with it. There's time, eternal time, space is time for everything else. I'll get to it when it feels good to do so. And I'm going to make time for sleep now. 9 hours of it, or
But what
whatever
about
feels
my
better.
deadlines? What about my deadlines?
Then you cut the things out that you don't enjoy.
Just like fat
Yes,
and sugar.
if you don't enjoy those, then cut them out. And you'll
You're
find
right.
there's areas, and that's why with the news media, I'd say first thing to do is, do you watch the evening so-called news or the news networks? Turn them off, but make a list of those things that feel good and the things that don't feel good that you're doing, and things that don't feel good. If you're not going to get arrested or homeless for not doing them, like deadlines, chuck them.
Okay. Great advice. Thank you for that.
And it's
And I,
okay to say no to certain deadlines because then they'll value you more. God, she's so busy. She's got to, we really want her.
from your mouth to God's ears. So yes. I am, that's one of the things that every year, I mean, I'm really good when I make a commitment, I'm really good at it. But when it comes to sleep, my husband is really, really good with sleep. He, whenever he's ready, it's done. I mean, he'll do it. But for me, and when he goes to sleep, he looks at he wakes up 8 hours after. It's like for the most part, he gets his time in, and I'm like, oh.
Is your mind wide awake at bedtime or are you ready to drift into sleep by the time
If
you
I
go to
go
bed?
to bed if I'm in bed by 9:30, done. But if I like one more thing and one more thing and one more thing, I joke with my husband that like when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm already falling asleep. It's like I've like my routine. I know my routine, but when I've pushed it beyond,
Mhm.
then I'm like lying awake in my.
Well, let's talk about the importance of sleep, and let's talk about what happens when people's day-night cycles are shifted, so they're tired all day and then their mind's wide awake at bedtime. Because you look like you could probably benefit from a little bit of adrenal support, and when people have that, if it gets more severe, then sometimes they have this tired and hangry all day and wide awake mind at bedtime.
Yeah.
So and that their day-night clocks are shifted,
Yeah, yeah. And
and
for me, as I can go to sleep, it's staying asleep. That's the issue. And when I
okay.
wake up and there's like something I know I need to do, I just go
Mhm.
do it.
Mhm.
So you're getting an insight. Everybody's getting an insight on Lillian McDermott.
Well,
So
yeah, welcome to being human, and
I
nobody
am
here
very
but us
human.
chickens. So,
That's right. I
and
am very human. And one of those things where it's been my goal. That's been my my kryptonite. I am like ready to master sleep. I'm
okay,
ready to master sleep.
then we'll go through some simple tools
Okay.
as we get back on the air.
Okay. And
Uh,
we're about to get started too. Can
okay.
you believe this is our third segment? So let me talk about my social media. I'll try to get that through done real quick so we can get to sleep. Okay.
Mhm.
So we just finished the natural. Then we're going to go to sleep. Oh, we're going to go to sleep.
Uh-huh.
Sleepy time. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where you can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I am your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we go through life with childlike wonder. The person in front of you, if you are talking to someone, most likely knows something you don't know. Be curious and learn whatever it is that that person knows that you don't know. And that's how we all start working together for the good of all. And so that's the kind of responsibility, that's the kind of ownership that we talk about. Today we're talking about how to get pain-free. And Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum is our teacher today, and I'm really excited. I just want to share with you that I want you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please become a subscriber. While you're there, check out all my social media, like me there. This is how you help me, because we give a lot of information every day on the show. And this is my way of asking you to give to be back, which is where I get to receive. And the way that you give back to me is by liking my posts, by engaging in what we're doing, and becoming a subscriber. Once you become a subscriber, you'll get all sorts of free gifts, and the show gets sent to you to your tablets. I also want to encourage you to go to my sponsors page and make sure you support my sponsors the way they are supporting the show. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com and let's grow together there. Check out my podcast. And if you have any questions, always 407-373-5959. You can text or call. And last but not least, it is so important that we listen to this information and consider something different. Dr. Teitelbaum has been teaching me. I've been confessing to him about my sleep deprivation. Yes, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. So I have received general absolution, and we're ready to move. We're ready to get to work. I am ready to talk about sleep now. This is my biggest kryptonite in my body. So go ahead and share a little bit about sleep and how it affects pain.
Well, the thing is, sleep is when our repair crews are out and healing the little micro tears and things from the day. So research has shown if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to be in pain, period. It's just a natural thing that happens from it. And when you're in pain, to make the pain go away, sleep is a critical part. Now, it helps to realize that the average night's sleep, average in the United States until 140 years ago when light bulbs were invented, was 9 hours a night. We've now down to 6 3/4, which is a 30% pay cut to our body, and it contributes to sleep. So as we were saying when we were off the air, first thing is to make time for sleep, and do that by making a list of where you spend time in your life. Things that feel good, things on the list that don't feel good, the things on the don't feel good list. If you're not going to get arrested or homeless, cut them out. All those meetings, that the school things, all the, honey, is it really important I go to that meeting? I don't want to go to that meeting either, Mom. Okay, like, um, news, watching the evening fiction networks, that we call the news networks, cut those out. It's just nonsense and rubbish, and it's toxic. Just turn them off. If something important happens, you'll hear about it elsewhere. So make the time for sleep. And now if you have trouble falling asleep, if your mind is wide awake at bedtime, especially if you're hangry during the day, this is a irritable sign of low adrenal, the stress handler being low. Then there's a mix of herbals, ashwagandha and phosphatidylserine, which is actually a nutrient. You can use as Sleep Tonight. There's a nice product that does that. That'll help the mind settle down. You take an hour before bedtime, it'll bring your cortisol down. But a much simpler approach to that is anybody who raises children knows that you've got to have a bedtime routine, right?
Yes.
And you don't dream of having a kid run, okay, to bed, honey. That's not going to happen. So you want to go ahead and you have that hour before where you have something calm and peaceful, a bedtime story, a favorite movie, that they've seen 100 times. And when it comes to sleep, we're just big children. So having our routine signals the body that it's time to shift into sleep mode and turns off the adrenaline system so we can go off. So whether it's a hot Epsom salt bath if you're in the wintertime with some lavender, whether it's just reading a good book, even if it's a glass of wine, a little bit of chocolate, and your favorite romance, not too hot of a romance novel, but just something and something enjoyable and simple, and just have your bedtime routine. And then say you have trouble staying asleep. You'll see with people with adrenal issues, they tend to drop their blood sugar at night, and that wakes them up sometimes with the sweat. So the thing for that is to do a 1 ounce protein snack at bedtime. So for those who are not vegan, a hard-boiled egg is a very good way to do that. Otherwise, some beans, corn, rice would be good, especially beans and corn, would be a good protein source. the tofu. Pick your protein source, but 1 ounce protein snack at bedtime will sometimes help ease that quite a bit. Also, they may find they're up peeing all night, in which case prop your legs up, because again, because of gravity, we pull water in the legs, and you prop your legs go up on the bed, and gravity's draining them. That's a quart of water you may be drinking, or the equivalent of while you're asleep. So prop your legs up for a couple hours before you go to bed when it's convenient. Let the legs drain so you pee it before you go to sleep instead of peeing all night. So a number of different things. There's herbal mixes, excellent for maintaining sleep. My two favorite, one is called the Revitalizing Sleep Formula. Mixes 6 herbs, leaves most people sleeping like kittens. Another one is a mix of essential oils called Terrific Z's. So Terrific, ZZZZ. They can be taken together. And you'll know they increase in effectiveness over 6 weeks, but you'll know in the first night or two. So adjust them. And these things can all help people sleep through the night. Critical part of pain relief. There's then the rest of S.H.I.N.E would be optimizing hormones, thyroid, adrenal, estrogen, testosterone, infections, especially candida infections. If you have postnasal drip, nasal congestion, irritable bowel, gas, bloating, diarrhea, get a holistic doctor to treat you for candida. Nutritional support, the Energy Revitalization System vitamin powder, best, easiest nutritional support. It's low cost. It's 1 drink a day instead of 35 pills. I have pretty much everybody I treat on that, and people love it because it
I might
covers
check it
so
out.
many problems. Yeah, it's a really easy, good thing. Just half a scoop a day to 1 scoop a day. It has a good bit of magnesium and vitamin C, so if it has a bit of a laxative action, then lower the dose. Most people find it helps.
Very
They'll
good.
feel
Very
regular
good.
and feel good. And then exercise is able. Now, we don't have the time to go into each of these in depth. I want to cover each type of pain. But there's a free, if you go to a website, if you have pain, write this down, www.vitality101.com,
Mm-hmm.
and then click on step 3. You'll see a free energy analysis program. It's a 5-10 minute quiz, 10-15 minute quiz, and saying that you just do the quiz, and it will analyze and determine what's causing your energy drain and give you a comprehensive protocol on how to optimize your energy.
Very
And
good.
that
Is
can
this
help
free? Is
muscle.
this free for everybody?
Oh, this is free. Yep. Easiest one it gets
Absolutely.
to me.
So go to vitality101.com, and there's step 1, there's step 2, and step 3, step 4. So make sure you go to step 3 if you want to learn a little bit more about the protocol that you need for your sleep. So that's really important. So lack of sleep can create pain.
And you need sleep to make the pain go away.
Interesting. Okay. So there's so many different kinds of pain that you've got. There's backaches, there's knees, or there's fibromyalgia. Are these different kinds of pain? Are they all the same pain masquerading or manifesting in different parts of the body?
Well, it's more helpful to distinguish between nerve pain, muscle pain, joint pain, and then with the headaches, the different kind of headaches. So why don't you break it up that way? Because you can have pain in the upper back or the chest or the arm or the jaw, and it's all muscle pain, and the
Hmm.
treatments are pretty similar. So the muscle pain we talked about, you
Yes.
want to optimize S.H.I.N.E. We also noted, I gave the general things first that help pretty much all kinds of pain
Hmm.
through common pathways. We talked about S.H.I.N.E for the muscle pain.
Hmm.
So let's talk about joint pain and arthritis.
Okay.
Um, Basically, if you get wear and tear, as we noted earlier in the show, the x-rays have been shown to bear very little to no correlation with the pain.
Hmm.
It's been shown for low back pain. It's been shown for arthritis pain of the joint, of the jaw joint. Um, but the doctors don't know how to do a proper exam, especially for muscle pain.
Okay.
And all they know how to do is an x-ray. So they do the x-ray, say, oh, look at all this wear and tear. I'm amazed you can walk. Yeah, well, they did a study showing that, in people with back pain, for example, arthritis, they took a bunch of people with no back pain and a bunch of people with back pain. And they lied and said that they all had back pain, got x-rays. And all of them, the radiologist said, oh, look at all this wear and tear. Amazing they can walk. And then they put them all up on the board and said, pick out the ones with back pain from the ones that's out. And the radiologist could not do so better than by chance.
Hmm.
Okay, so ignore what the x-ray shows. If
Okay.
it shows that you have a specific nerve defect, say in the footfall and foot strength, along with the reflex that's off compared to the other, and something on the x-ray in that segment, then it's meaningful. but that's usually not what's happening. They're just
Okay.
saying, I don't know what's wrong. Oh, look, the x-ray's abnormal. You've got a war zone back. No, most of that is going to be muscle pain. Um, for those with muscle pain that they can get to, there's a very nice tool called the Thumper,
Thumper.
Thumper. You can find them on Amazon. They're like an industrial strength vibrator, especially for the leg pain. If you had a back injury and you've got pain going down the side or inside of your legs,
Mm-hmm.
you can use that to just kind of massage it all the way down and keep the muscle released so it doesn't keep building
Very
intention.
nice. Very nice. So
Tension.
that's for muscle pain.
Yep. Yep. The muscle
Okay.
pain.
Well, we got to go get some vibrators here. That sounded much better in my head. And we're going to continue the conversation when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Yikes. I hope they don't call me up and say, hey, what are you talking about? So those big industrial sized vibrators, I
Yep.
think I have one. You
Yep.
know, the one that stuff that you put on your back and it's supposed to vibrate and they're like this big. I think
Yep.
I have one in my closet. You could put that on your leg and
Yeah, the back's a little harder to get to, so you want to have your honey do that,
yeah.
and do those muscles. But for the leg, yeah, you can just go right down the leg along the side of the thing and release the muscles.
What about
So
magnesium? Liquid
it's
magnesium.
magnesium's ready in the vitamin powder. Got 200 milligrams of a highly absorbed one.
So the spray magnesium, you don't think
It's a
that
very
that's
expensive way to do it. It doesn't hurt. It can help, but it's very pricey. I'd rather have people, if they're needing it over here, then they're needing it throughout their body.
got
And
it.
it's,
Got
you
it. So, and I had somebody put me on 600 milligrams of magnesium, but you were
Mhm.
saying that this powder had 200 milligrams.
Yeah, when you got up to 600, a lot of people get the runs. They get
Oh,
diarrhea.
well, it's a different kind. It's the chelated.
Yeah, well, like I say, when you get too high, a lot of people get the diarrhea. That's as much as you can take without getting diarrhea is fine. Diarrhea is not dangerous; it's just a nuisance.
But
Um,
if you get diarrhea, if you're on magnesium, you have loose stools or diarrhea, couldn't that affect your body as well to deplete you of other things?
Right, that's what I'm saying. You ease
Hmm.
the dose back if you get diarrhea. You don't want diarrhea. And there are sustained release magnesiums available. Jigsaw Health makes one. It's funny, it was a small company, this is a brilliant company, and their entire advertising budget when they first started is they had these rolls of toilet paper that said magnesium without the runs, no SPPT. That was the whole advertising campaign, and it doesn't cause runs. So if it's a little more pricey. So I say that for people who
So it's
need
called Jigsaw,
Jigsaw sustained release magnesium.
and you think that they say that you should take magnesium at night. So if you take it sustained release, is that during the day?
But it doesn't matter either way. The magnesium during the day helps energy. At night, it helps sleep. Both
Okay.
helps both.
Wow, I am learning so much. You're such a great teacher.
Oh, I thank you. You are too, by the way, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Mhm.
think I think I have the spirit of a teacher.
Yes, you do. As my wife likes to say, we are all students, we are all teachers.
That's
And
right.
she's right on.
And it's knowing when to shift, right? When to go
Yes.
back and forth.
Yeah. One to receive, one to give.
That's
Yes.
right. You know, it's interesting. This I can't believe we're on the fourth segment, Dr. Teitelbaum. It's
Yeah.
like we just need to do another stent.
Yeah. Happy to. You're a joy to be
Well,
speaking with. So let's
thank
go
you.
through the different kinds of pain a bit further. We'll move through arthritis that I started on. I'm just going to give a quick thumbnail, and I'll tell people a resource they can do so they can have all the rest of the information there down
Okay. Okay.
very frantically.
Sounds really good. Okay. Looks like we're ready to start. And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. Time flies when he's on the show. And so I want to encourage you to go to vitality101.com. And he talked about the protocol, the S.H.I.N.E protocol that he had mentioned before. And so I wanted us to get involved and do everything we possibly can. As you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill, you can take responsibility. I am not against pills. Neither is Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. We are for doing everything you possibly can to heal your body as naturally as possible. So today we're talking about how to get pain-free. We've talked about the different kinds of pain. We've talked about the different products that we can have to be pain-free. Again, Dr. Teitelbaum, do you feel that each one of us is our own, and I had Richard Horowitz say medical detective, our own MD, where we can figure out what feels good in our body and what is our own protocol?
Absolutely. And as I tell people when they have their first visit with me, I treat people often by phone from all over the world. And I'll tell them in the first 5 minutes, if I recommend something you're not comfortable with and you do it anyway, you're not a good patient, you're an idiot. And that applies to any doctor who tells you. And
Good.
if there's something that you have a gut instinct that this feels good, I need to know that. That's critical information for me
Mm-hmm.
because that's your intuition's way of saying, look here. And your intuition knows you better than anybody. So, how do these things feel to you? And not what your brain is telling you. First, you want to see what feels best to you. Then, you want to use your mind to figure out how to create that, not the other way around. Your mind has no idea who you are. All it knows is what you've been programmed as a kid and through media and all the rest. It's like the GPS. It, if you tell the GPS, take me where I want to go, it's like, take me where I want to go. I don't know. But if you plug in an address, it's brilliant. Take it right
Yeah.
there. Your feelings tell you what's authentic and where you want to go. Then your brain figures out how to get you there. So, in general, we're talking about arthritis, and the Curamin we had talked about before and the end pain. Those two are
Mm-hmm.
brilliant for arthritis. Give them
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Also take glucosamine sulfate, 400 milligrams, well, 750 milligrams twice a day of glucosamine and 400 milligrams 3 times a day of chondroitin. By the way, because we're covering a lot of territory, there's a free app. It's an iPhone app. There's a $2 upgrade, but most of the information is in the free one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely such a deal, as they say. So it's called Cures, Cures, and then capital A-Z. So Cures A to Z is for, you can get it on Google phone, you can get it iPhone, Android, and you can look up each kind of pain. You can look up anything from acne to zoster, and it'll say, here's a quick background, and here are the things that are the best, both natural, and also it talks about some of the medications, giving thumbs up or thumbs down where appropriate.
That's
So
awesome. That's
all of
awesome.
this is in there.
And I have that app on my phone as well, and I use it quite often. And so it's a really good tool for us. Again, we need more than a hammer and a chisel. We need more than that to be our own medical detective. So when it comes to diabetes, not diabetes, when it comes to arthritis, you're talking about Curamin. Is there any other thing that we can do for other pains? What are other pains that we can target?
So let's look at neuropathy pain, nerve pain, that kind of shooting electric pain. Lipoic acid, 300 to 600 milligrams twice a day, and acetyl L-carnitine, 1,000 milligrams twice a day. Do the vitamin powder because you want to make sure you're getting enough B12 and other things. Make sure you're not getting over 50 milligrams of vitamin B6 a day in the things you're taking because that can aggravate nerve pain unless it's the P5P form. But for B6, 50 milligrams a day is right top. But if you have nerve pain,
50, 50.
50. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The vitamin powder has 45 milligrams specifically for that reason. Keeps it in the safe zone.
So that's the
Um,
energy revitalizing. I'm going to get that energy revitalizing
Really
system.
good
I think
stuff.
that's going to work because it has enough bees in there
Oh, it
too.
has 50 milligrams. It has high dose bees. It has optimal levels of everything except calories. It doesn't have essential oils and iron, but everything else you should be getting from the diet. It's in optimal levels pretty much.
Very good. Very good. What else do you need for us to know about pain? Because
Uh,
a lot of people go around with emotional component of pain, and I know we're not going to maybe talk about
I
that,
will,
but
but we're going to talk about it right now.
okay.
So I'm going to earn my nickname that I had in college of Rambling Jack because we have a lot of territory. So if you don't
That's
mind,
right.
emotional pain. A couple main components to heal. You can go ahead and go to talk counseling for 30 years and chew the same stuff over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It can be helpful for coping and use it for coping, for eliminating emotional traumas. Number one, there's something called emotional freedom technique, or EFT.
Yep.
You can go to eft.mercola.com,
Mm-hmm.
see a nice video on it. It's very good for releasing. They say, well, that can't possibly help. It's a little tapping technique. And then 2 minutes later, you hear this giggling because where those trauma feelings go to? They just
Mm-hmm.
flowed right out of my body. There's a book called Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine. He has much newer information, but I haven't read that yet. It's using trembling or shaking. It's a shake off trauma, and that allows the fascia to release. And we talk about the fascia being what holds the muscles together. And when we talk about fight or flight, but what happens if you can't fight and you can't run? You freeze.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fascia freezing. Normally it unfreezes by trembling or shaking it off, as the coach says when somebody gets tackled. Um, but people feel stupid trembling, so they suppress it. They never get rid of it. So just read the book, do those two techniques. You can release the emotional traumas much cheaper than counseling.
So we had Dr. Lee Cowden. I don't know if you're familiar with who he is, but Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Cowden said it's so much more expensive to heal the body when you're unwilling to do the emotional work. Once you do the emotional work, it's very cheap to heal the body. What do you
Brilliant,
have to say about that?
brilliant.
Brilliant.
And what goes on in the body is simply a metaphor for what's going on in our psyche. And it's not all emotional, it's a mix of things. But
Sure.
it's really, we're creating our own reality. And that includes what's going on in our bodies. Now, if you're in terminal cancer and you're lying on the bed and, taking your last breath, and you figure, well, you have enough momentum, it's a little hard to change. Then
Mm-hmm.
figure, okay, well, game over, next game. But
Mm-hmm.
for most things, you can really shift the momentum, shift the direction, shift your thoughts, shift your attention, and the world will change itself all around you, including health. So we're talking mostly about the physical components today.
Yeah.
But again, this is all part of your creating your own reality and having the power to do that by knowing that most illnesses are optional.
Illness is optional. I like that. And if someone is in the middle of this illness and they want it to be optional, and they've lived their life, whether it's been a part like a pet, it's something that they identify with their diseases, they identify with their pain, and it's all about the pain. What is your advice for them?
Realize that's okay. It is scary to realize that if I get well, I'm going to be having all these expectations on myself from others that I've gotten. Maybe I have to go back to the job that made me toxic and sick in the first place. Maybe I can't say no to an abusive spouse. Maybe, so it's okay to ask and answer to yourself the question, how does this illness, any illness, serve me? And to realize that all illness serves. That doesn't make it bad or wrong or make believe or fake. It's just how we're set up. Once you understand how it serves me, and then, well, I'd have to go back to this job that's toxic. Then give yourself permission not to go back to that job because your body won't let you, or won't let you get well enough. So, but once you acknowledge to your psyche, it's like, okay, I'm done with that.
Mm.
And even if people don't like it, I'm done with that. Now your psyche is free to allow the healing to begin. So how does this illness serve me? And give yourself permission to have it served in an easier way with no judgment at all, because there's nothing you or anybody does that warrants judgment. Let it go. Judgment it's useless.
Very
So just
good.
accept that.
Very good, Dr. Teitelbaum. One of the things I want to ask you to do is when we get off the air, I want you to show us how to do the shaking. I'm very curious about that. So for those of you who are listening today, you may want to watch this YouTube video because I think it's going to be epic. So Dr. Teitelbaum, Dr. Teitelbaum, thank you so much. I can't believe the hour has gone by so quickly. You are always welcome guest on the show, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Aloha.
Aloha. Okay, and to you, my listening friends, and my viewing friends, it's time. It's time to take our health back, and you have the power. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
Ever.
Very good. Oh, I'm all choked up with you. Okay, so can you show us what the shaking is about?
Well, it's not even something that needs showing, but the thing is that it's trembling. Have you ever seen a dog or a cat tremble after they had a
Yeah,
scary
yeah,
experience?
yeah.
And it's not something they have to make happen. It's something they let happen. And that's the key, is just let it happen. Now, if you're in company, you don't want to feel stupid, then hope, you can suppress it. But when you're by yourself or explain to your loved ones what you're doing, just when it feels like coming up, that's an old trauma. bubbling to the surface, release. Just let the trembling happen. It's not how you tremble. I don't need to show you how to tremble. It's a good way
Ah.
for me to look silly and stupid, but it's okay. That wouldn't be the first time I look silly and stupid. So, it's but it's a matter of letting it. Your body knows what it's doing. You just need to let it do its thing to release it. And this traumas will come off in wave after wave. It may happen every couple of days for years, and that's okay.
Hmm.
But as long as you know it's not a dangerous thing and it's not a scary thing, it's a healthy release. Just and let your dog and cat watch them. You'll see that they know how to do it.
You know
And
what?
so,
You know what? I just had that visual of Max going to the vet, and Max would
uh
just sit there and go.
yep,
So
yep,
I have to do what Max has to do. You know,
uh,
it's interesting because we think we deal with trauma and we think we deal with pain. Oh, I dealt with it a long time ago, and we may have dealt with it. And it may be true, but it may
yeah.
have been in a logical, you know, not an emotional. And so, what is the difference between dealing with something logically and dealing with something emotionally? And how do you know it's released out of the body?
Well, if you're dealing with it logically, you escaped into your mind and you stuffed it, and where you're stuffing it is in your muscles, so they're going to hurt. So your mind will be clear, but you will feel disjointed from your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I can feel, I'm empathic enough, I can tell when somebody is coming from the mind versus when they're in their feelings and their heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most people can intuitively. So if you feel in your feelings that you felt it and you're in your feelings and it's feeling clearer, then for now, it may well be. Doesn't mean there won't be another layer that'll come up later. So the trick is you don't go hunting for, either your shadow side or negative feelings. That's a fool's errand. The trick is to know how to greet it when these things come up. And the way to greet it is just by saying yes and acknowledging it. There's nothing to defend against. If you find yourself judging yourself or anybody else, stop it. It's just nonsense. Just look at it and accept with a good sense of humor that we're all human, including whoever we think had traumatized us and whoever we traumatized. And just feel it. The only thing you have to do with feelings are two things. Number one is feel them. And you feel them as long as they feel good to feel. It can be amazing how good it feels to grieve, to have a good self-righteous hissy fit. I love those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it'll feel good. But when it stops feeling good, that's how you know you're done with that feeling. And then step two is to let go of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find if once you felt them fully, which means it no longer feels good, you felt them as long as it feels good to feel them, then you let go of them. And there's a simple thing, it's funny, sometimes you need help. And I will just find you the higher power that you would like to. I'll ask God, God is one. I got to let go of my feelings of. Please help me. And you'll find, as long as you're honest, and you are ready to let go of them, they'll lift right up. So whatever, inner self, whatever higher level of consciousness that you like and find yourself drawn to, ask. They do help with that. And it's a very cheap, low cost way.
I
Very
know.
powerful.
I would say it would be, I often get asked the question, what's the difference between a life coach and a shrink? And I said, well, first of all, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have any of those degrees. But I will say that if it's not working for you, why point rehash it? We just keep working on it. Excuse me. We just start releasing. And so here's the thing, there's so many different pathways to release. Tapping has not spoken to me. Hold on a second. I'm going to mute myself here. Tapping has not spoken to me in any way because it feels like I'm like constantly thinking while tapping. And I've done shows on tapping. Sorry. So I've done shows on tapping, and it seems like I have to memorize all this stuff, or you have to say it a certain way. And I kind of get focused on that. But for someone who tapping doesn't work well, what do you recommend?
Well, the trembling, but in your case, you really are growed up enough that you're able to simply be with the feelings and let go of the resistance in terms of we have an illusion of who we think we are and should be. And that keeps us from looking at who we really are. So the psyche and body have to go through all these permutations and. But if you can simply honestly, with a sense of humor, accept totally who you are. And I will tell you, you're a beautiful being, totally worthy of being accepted, no matter what. Whether you have to cough, whether you have to, do some weird stuff, whether you need to shake her out, whatever it happens to be, there's nothing in there judging. So, if you accept it all and simply feel it, that can be enough for you.
Hmm. And you know what? I think that it's like I see all these people and how they heal. And for me, it's different. I love to journal. Journaling for me, my
Hmm.
conversations with God are a way
Hmm.
for me to release. But
Yes.
sometimes I'm in resistance. And I
Yeah.
know when I'm in resistance. And right now in my life, I believe I'm in resistance because there's certain things in my life that I cannot control. And and I just have to be trust the process. I just need to trust the process.
I'm gonna call BS on you
Really? Tell me more.
because there's nothing in your life you can't control. The thing is, what people, when they say that, are saying is, I want to control how the other person is because that'll
Yeah,
make me feel better.
yeah.
And that's nonsense because you can't control another
I
person.
can't.
They
I
can't
can't.
control you.
Correct.
So there's nothing in your life that you can't control how you respond to. And how you respond to it is the entire statement of your experience.
I
So,
get it. I see. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I get it. So I can control me and how I
yes,
respond.
and that's all that you need to control. And trying to control anybody else, well, how do you like it if somebody tried that with you and they don't like it any better?
Oh, no, no, no. You're absolutely right. I would say that that's where the resistance is. I know that I can't change the situation, but you're right. I can control how I perceive it and how I deal with it.
Yes,
That,
and that changes the situation
what a nice little shift.
in every way that matters to you.
That's good. I have one other question. There are people who get like their back blows out, or they have blowouts in their body, whether it's a disease or a bone or a muscle or whatever pain. Do you feel that a good question to ask is, what am I unwilling to look at, or what is causing this, or how what is a good question that we can ask ourselves so that we too can be self-cleaning ovens?
Well, first, the whole imagery you're giving of there's a blowout. No, there wasn't.
Boom. Yeah.
You're giving this image of some indestructible, unchangeable, unfixable. That's nonsense. I've never seen anybody walk down the street and have their back blow out, and they're paraplegic
Well,
and they're
I know people that say I was fine last night and all of a sudden my back blew out. So,
yeah, that's it. Look at the language. So, and then all of a sudden, they didn't get arthritis all of a sudden. So they all of a sudden they pinched a muscle. A muscle went to spasm on them, and it doubled me over so I couldn't walk. Now, can you feel the difference between, oh, I had a tight muscle that meant a spasm versus I blew out my back?
sure.
And that blew out your back. It's just not accurate.
Okay.
You
So
know.
what's a good question to ask?
So the good question to ask, what I said before, how does it serve you? But that's a later question. In the beginning, what you want to do is you can ask your body, what am I needing? And
What do
what's
I
it
need?
liking? And you do that by, does it like heat? Does it like ice? Does it like rest? Does it like activity? Would it like a nice Epsom salt bath? What feels good? And not just physically, but emotionally. And from there, because you don't want to start with how does this serve me, because people get into this whole fault, blame,
Mhm.
American nonsense that we do. Um, but once you've gotten to a certain level and you're ready to let go of all that and realize there's no fault, there's no blame, and it's just have a sense of humor, then how does it serve me can become a useful question. I wouldn't start there with people.
I like that.
And, so listen to how things feel to guide you. And beyond that, I don't think there's a single question that I would recommend because everybody's so different.
Mhm.
It's what I'm feeling from the